Okay, we will start. Hello. Okay, we will start. No, it's on a different mode now. Oh. Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Sashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannabadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Dorbiryukta Chaturbhis Patikamanimayi Makshamalam Dathana Haste Nekena Padmam Sitamapi Shukam Pustakam Chaparena Bhasa Kunde Dushankas Patikamaniribha Bhasamana Samana Same Vagdevatayam Nivasatu Vasane Sarvada Suprasanna Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmike Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha Shrinvan Rama Katanadam Konayanti Param Gatim Goshpadi Kritavarashim Mashaki Kritarakshasam Ramayana Mahamala Ratnam Vande Nilatmajam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakāņjalim Bāshpavari Paripurnalochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam Vaidehi Sahitam Suradrumatale Haide Mahamandape Madhye Pushpakamasane Manimaye Virasane Sustitam Agre Vachayati Prapanjana Sute Tattvam Munibhya Param Yakhyantam Bharatadi Parivritam Ramam Pache Shyamalam Namostu Ramaya Salakshmanaya Devyai Chatasyai Janakatmajaya Namostu Rudredra Yamanilebhyaha Namostu Chandrarka Marudganebhyaha Harihi Om. So we have come to the last part of the first sarga in which we are still there, which is the Samkshepa Ramayana. Till 85 shlokas or something we saw. It has 100 shlokas, as we know. So we have the last 12, 13 shlokas remaining, which we will see today. Now, in this last part of the shlokas, there is the Yuddhakanda. Yuddhakanda is just a few shlokas. Valmiki has chosen not to say much about Yuddhakanda here, unlike the other. Roughly it was about 17-18 shlokas per kanda. Yuddhakanda turned out to be just some 3-4 shlokas. Of course, then there is this brief mention about Rama Rajya, 2-3 shlokas, and then the Phalashruti of what happens when people read Ramayana. So that's what we are going to see today. Before we see, I want to give a little sense of the Yuddhakanda. Because all these we are going to see much later. Therefore, let me take a little time and quickly talk about it. Yuddha Kandam has 128 sargas. In some other versions, there are 131 sargas, but predominantly the Bombay edition, all critical editions, Gita Press, 128. Biggest by the count of number of sargas. But you will also notice several sargas are very small in Yuddha Kandam. Some of them are 15 shlokas, 12 shlokas, 20 shlokas, and so on. But anyway, just to give a little sense of what's going on, the Sundarakandam ends with Hanuman coming and telling Rama and Sugriva, Lakshmana, that I saw Sita. Sita has given only 2 months, and if we are not able to go before that, she will not. And then it ends like that. So Yuddha Kandam starts with a little more detail which Rama fetches from Hanuman. Then they are wondering what to do. So the initial part of Yuddha Kanda, there are 2 stories which run parallel. If you look at the first 30 sargas of Yuddha Kandam, there are 2 stories. One story is what is happening on this side. The other story is what is happening on the other side. That's how the text is. So as Sri Rama and Sugriva and all these people are thinking, what do we do? Some steps that they have to take. In the same time, in Lanka, somehow they get to know that these all these troops of monkeys and Rama and Lakshmana, all these people have assembled at the sea coast. So that they get that information. Therefore, on the other side, they start wondering what to do. So the story also, they are trying to find out what's happening. So this is the charm of, I want to show a little bit today. This is the charm of Valmiki Ramayanam, which I said in the first class itself. Even in we may think what is there in Yuddha Kandam, it's all about fight, fiery fight. You know, lots of people being killed and all kind of astras and so on. But what you find is there are very interesting things to see. Lessons of life, some loka dharmas, some very important ideas are there right from the beginning. I'm seeing in Yuddha Kanda. I mean, it was so involving. I quickly read, very fast. I read about 30 sargas in one shot in about 2-3 hours 2 days back. It was so interesting. I was just sort of going over it. So the first thing that happens is Vibhishana. I think it is the 9th sarga or something. Vibhishana, first of all, so as soon as the Rakshasas get to know that Rama and this monkey troop, Vanara Sena are all getting ready, then all these Prahasta and all these different, Rakshasas, so they are all thumping their chest and then saying how we will finish off this. This kind of a conversation goes on the other side. Then Vibhishana actually, at that time itself, he tells Ravana, but I find those are the best passages in Yuddhakanda. Vibhishana once in, I think, Sarga 5 and again in Sarga 11, some other Sarga, later also, I think 16 or something. 2-3 times he tells Ravana, it will not work. Please don't do this. So Vibhishana tries to tell him that that's not a good idea. You have no sense of what is happening. You have no idea of how the strength of Rama when it comes to archery. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 10, if you see in chapter 10, Ramaha Shastra Vritam Varaha, that's a reference there. Of all the archers, Krishna says, I am Rama. So Rama's archery is perhaps very special, very powerful. Vali and all those 7 trees, so many things that all we knew. So Vibhishana is trying to tell him, you have no idea of what is happening and all that. In the first occasion, Ravana just ignores whatever Vibhishana says and simply retires in the Antapura. That's how the Sarga ends. In the first encounter, when Vibhishana tries to tell him, don't do all this, it's not good. In the second encounter, when Vibhishana again tries to make an appeal again, please don't do this, it is not good. I think Ravana spits fire on him. He says, you are, instead of supporting, you are doing all kinds of things. You are not worthy of all that, he talks. So even before the troop crosses the ocean, Vibhishana has come on this side. So he bids goodbye to his brother, stepbrother, elder brother, and he says, try to protect Lanka if possible. Let good things happen to you. He comes to the other side. So he comes to the other side on this side, on the other side of the ocean. Although Valmiki does not give details of how did he cross and all those details are not there. So then story shifts here again. And this time Vibhishana tells him, of course, accepting Vibhishana itself, there are two sargas. Everybody is against it. Again, that sarga in which Rama says, why I should accept Vibhishana is again a very nice sarga to read actually. Some high principles of life, which we can only read, it looks like. It's very hard to even reach that level, even to think of reaching such a level. Anyway, so finally Rama says, Abhayam sarvabhutebhya dadami etat mama vrata. That's what mama vratam he says. He says, whoever comes to me, even if Ravana comes right away, I will give him abhaya. It's a nice shloka in Yuddhakanda. So all that happens. Then it is Vibhishana who says, your grandparents, your forefathers were responsible for this. Sagaraputras, Sagara came from Sagaraputras. They're all Ikshvaku Vamsha. You should take the help of Sagara. Only with Sagara's help we can trust. You ask that. Then initially, the ocean is not responding. Then he takes his, all that kind of stories are there. Anyway, they cross and come on the other side. And then Ravana sends two of his asuras to make, and so the story moves on. The Rakshasas make an assessment of this strength of this. These people make an assessment of the strength of her. In fact, Sugriva straight jumps into Ravana and creates a little ruckus and comes back, which Rama does not agree. Sugriva straight goes in front of Ravana and does something and comes back, and he says, I did it with a lot of Rama did not agree to it anyway. So all that kind of things happen. And then what is interesting is the war, the way the war is going is there are three major rounds of casualties. On the Rakshasa side, three bunch of casualties, large chunk being killed, like it happens 3 times. And between the 3 times, the first time between the first bunch being killed, Prahasta was sent, he is killed. Then there's a second bunch of big warriors are killed. Then Kumbhakarna is sent. Then third batch is again big batch of people being killed. Indrajit goes. Then Ravana. This is the order in which it goes. But what is interesting to see is the amount of desperation that Ravana has gone through. Because there is a lot of dirty tricks he does after every end of a major casualty which has happened. So I will go through some of those shlokas which are very interesting. It's a little thought-provoking for us. It's not about war. It is about many things that we do in our life also. So there are some nice shlokas. I just wanted to, there are many. But as a trailer, I want to take only a few shlokas for the moment. So if you, oh, this is not working. Huh? Yeah, HDMI is there, no? Ooh.
It is.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So the first thing that happened is if you read Yuddhakanda, it is very clear that Ravana set his own mousetrap. Nobody else was required. This is what happens to lots of people in their life. I told it some time back also. When bad things happen to people, they dig their own grave. It's not, I mean, they have a tendency to blame on others. I mean, that's not the fact. Fact is, when bad things happen, we have been responsible for it. We have very deeply think about it. We'll actually get that understanding. So here, see what is happening. In fact, Sarga 9 to 16, Vibhishana has twice come in and told him, think through, this is not what you need to do. Tasya tiraskara. Don't agree to him. You just instead, talk all kinds of bad things and throw him away. The Shuka and Sharana, they were sent to assess the strength of they are all now arrived. Suvela mountain, on this side they have come. So Ravana sends two of these people, Shuka and Sharana. They also come back, and while they said this is what it is, they told Ravana things doesn't seem to be good. So they warned, don't do this, this is not good. Please don't do this. No, he didn't listen to it. Malyavan, that's a beautiful sarga. The 31st sarga, if you read, such a wonderful sarga, such a gambhirya with which Malyavan is talking. He talked about dharma, he talked about what a good king must do, what a leader must do. How you have actually missed all that and it is coming back to you. It's a nice sarga. The 35th sarga, Malyavan again advises him, please don't do it. And while advising, he talks about how a leader must be there, how a king must behave. So many things he says at that time. So even all that he ignored. So Malyavan said so much, long piece of very good advice. He didn't listen to it. Then Kumbhakarna, when Kumbhakarna was woken up, what nice things he says. We have to read it in Sarga 63. Kumbhakarna again says, he says, you were sowing your own seed. I'll take one or two shlokas from there, some of these, and show you how these people have talked about. So this man was completely blindfolded. And Kumbhakarna, when he said all these, what was Ravana's reply? Ravana's reply was, wise people don't think about the past as though he is so wise. He says, wise people don't think about past, don't talk about the past. A good person helps a person in need, a friend, all that kind of vachana. Kumbhakarna says, all that is fine. I am your brother, I have a responsibility to say, but I will fight for you and go down the drain. It's not Kumbhakarna finally said. But it is my responsibility to tell you. That's what Kumbhakarna said. You know what Vibhishana said? He said, all others are talking, nobody is telling you, I am telling you. That's how he said. All your people around you are talking the same thing. Nobody is telling. I thought I must tell you. Yet Shrutam, yet Vachyam, I want to tell you. What was spoken, what is heard, I must tell you. That's what Vibhishana said. Kumbhakarna's that advice also is a statesman advice. Wonderful advice. He did not listen to any of those. When we see it, we'll see that it's not about Yuddha. There are some life principles, very interesting things which are coming there. Then he became very desperate. It was very clear. If you read Yuddhakanda, you find this character called Ravana became very desperate. He knew that he has lost. So out of desperation, first he picked up this fellow called Vidyujjihva. It's a very interesting name, no? It's Shurpanaga's husband, I think. Vidyujjihva. So the tongue is like lightning. Probably if he talks, people will be burnt. Ahitam Vakyam. Not Hita Vakya. I don't think maybe that may be the meaning why he is called Vidyujjihva. Vidyut is lightning. Jihva is tongue. Not that he has a lightning tongue. I think if this fellow speaks, he will be burnt. He speaks so badly. I think so. This is my own guess of the word. Anyway, Vidyujjihva was asked to trick. He, even before everything started, the moment the assessment of the strength happened, Ravana is showing his desperation. What did he do? He made a fake Rama, got fake Rama killed and took it in front of Sita in Ashokavana. In fact, before that, there was one more advice given by, who is this person? I don't remember. He said, you go and then, now Rama has come, no, you go and then, destroy that lady. Job is over. This is the advice given by one of the fellows. What purpose for is come, you just go and then Ravana says, I have got so many curses, I have a long list, I cannot touch her. In that Sarga he is telling, I have so many long lists. Punjikasthala, Nalai Kubera, Nandi, all list he says, I can't do. That time he says, I have made so much mischief. There's a list, if I go and touch her, I'll be finished. But there was advice like that given. Then Indrajit, he actually made a fake Sita and then showed, all that here on this side. Then his Nagastra and his final fight that he did, becoming invisible. Act of desperation was very visible. Each trick followed a major casualty. So he only created his own trouble. He walked the wrong path. I will take some of these advices and show you there. 1 or 2 shlokas I want to show. During Yuddhakanda, we will see some of those when we pass through it. This is in Sarga 9. You see what he is saying. Vibhishana is saying to Ravana, Tejasva kopam, sukha dharma nashanam, bhajasva dharmam, rati kirti vardhanam, prasida jivema saputra bandavaha, pradiyatam dasharataya maitili. He says, your anger, right? Anger, not only your anger, you see, it's a general purpose sentence. He says, kopam is always sukha dharma nashanam. See the use of the word. Valmiki's use of the word. Anger for anyone will destroy sukha and dharma. That's what he's saying. Sukha dharma nashanam. Kopam, tejasva. Because you are in fits of anger, you will destroy dharma and you will destroy your sukha also. Don't do that. That's the first thing he says. Then he talks about the contrast. If you follow dharma, bhajasva dharma, follow dharma. Why? Rati kirti vardhanam. Your kirti and your fame, like rati, it will grow. It will become so famous. So, dharmasya paripalanam is very important. That will only make you stronger. But on that, I think if you follow dharma, what will happen? Malyavan, I think. Very long passage in that Sarga where he is talking about. Very nicely he talks about how, you have destroyed dharma and you don't know what you do when you destroy dharma and all that. That's what he says. Prasida jivema suputra bandavaha, which is exactly did not happen. He said, let us be happy with our kith and kin. If you follow dharma, you can be happy with your children and kith and kin. Prasida jivema. So, putra bandavaha. If you have to do all these, pradiyatam dasharataya maitili. Give it back. Dasharathasya putra eva dasharati. So, dasharataya. To Rama, pratyarpanam. Surrender. And say, in some fist of this thing I did, leave me. That's what he is saying. But look at this choice of words. Kopam is always sukha dharma nashanam. Dharmam is always rati kirti vardhanam. That's the kind of message that Valmiki is bringing there. The next sarga, Ayam hi doshaha sarvasya janasyapi upalakshate. Actually, in the previous shloka, I didn't bring the previous shloka. In the previous shloka, you know what he says? He says, very nicely he says, there is dharma, artha and kama. Moksha he has left. We are in the pravritti, no? We are talking about people who are in the pravritti. Moksha is not to be brought in for discussion. Dharma, artha and kama. In the previous shloka he says, there are 3 things, right? There are people who actually take all the 3. There are people who take 2 out of 3, but they know how to take the 2 out of the 3 in a particular fashion. So that is the previous shloka. And if you don't do it, you will be in dosha. So that's what is coming here. It's a continuation shloka here. Ayam hi doshaha sarvasya jan. Oh, no, that's another shloka. I will come to it. This is saying all the mischief that we have done. Ayam hi doshaha sarvasya janasya upalakshate. Everybody is seeing it. Janasyapi upalakshate. All people are aware of the mischief that you are doing. See, this is what actually I've seen it. We have seen it in our own, life situations also. Person who has become uncontrollable in ego, wields so much of power. The first thing that will happen is when he does bad things, nobody will go and tell him. Because he has lost the capability to listen. Person who is very egoistic, one who has power, one who is the fist of everything, who also, delivered at some point in time. Ego came out of that. Person who is at the best of his ego or her ego, they will lose the counsel. This is a life, fact of life. Because they will not tolerate anybody saying. Because they are nothing but ego. They know everything. What they are doing is right only. It cannot be wrong. That is how the ego is driving them. So this Ravaneshwara was that variety. That's why he is saying, Sarvasya janasya api upalakshate. All people know what you are doing here. Nobody is able to tell. In fact, this is in a different way. There used to be one famous pravachaka in Tamil Nadu. He's called Kripananda Warrior. So I have heard him once saying, he was saying, when Ravana was prostrating before the rishis, these rishis were all putting the mantrakshata. But in their lips, they are saying, when is this fellow going to die? They did not open and tell loudly. But they are saying, when is this fellow going to die? Like that jokingly he used to say. The point is, you cannot air your opinion. People are not going to listen to you. You have become such an arrogant person. You have become such an egoistic person. That means you are actually digging your grave. Because people will distance from you after some time. That's what he is saying. Ayam hi doshaha sarvasya janasya api upalakshate rakshasam rakshasinam cha. The gents and the ladies, everybody knows. Your ministers, everybody knows the mischief that you are doing. They are afraid of telling you. Purasya anta purasya cha. In your antapura, also in the city, everywhere people know your mischief. Everybody knows what you are doing. Nobody is telling you. This is what is happening. Please understand what he is saying. Prapane cha asya mantrasya nivrittaha sarva mantrinaha. They don't want to say this to you. Nivrittaha. Sarva mantrinaha nivrittaha. Prapane cha. So even though they know, they have also heard this, they also know and all that, they don't tell you. They are nivrittaha. Nivritta is released. In other words, I will keep quiet. I won't say. Sarva mantrinaha nivrittaha. Nobody wants to say. But what is Vibhishana saying? Avashyam cha maya vachyam yad drishtam atava shrutam. That which has been told, vachyam, yad drishtam, that I have seen, atava yad shrutam, that I have heard. Avashyam maya vachyam. Avashyam maya vachyam. Maya, it must be told by me. What? Yad drishtam atava shrutam. What I have heard, what I have seen, I must tell you. Kimartam? Sambhidhaya etanyayam tadbhavan kartumargasi. You should think about it, right? And do things which is good. Therefore, I have to tell you, I will not be like others. Others are all afraid, they are not telling, but I will tell. Now, God gives such opportunities. Even, there are life situations in people, and we have seen. Sometimes the message comes. They take it, God has blessed them. They don't take it, even though God wanted to help, we refuse to get helped. That's all. So somebody will come and tell. We should have the ear and the eye to hear it. If going is good, we'll hear it. Otherwise, although God sent an opportunity, we tasyapi tiraskaraha about it. We even, disregarded that, ignored that. So that's why he said, I will tell what I have heard and what I have seen. Others are not saying, they are all afraid, they are just keeping quiet. Antapure, rakshasaha, rakshasi, mantrinaha, everybody knows, they are not telling. But I will tell. That's what he says. Similar way Kumbhakarna said. Very similarly, he made having said everything, he said, I am your brother, that's why I have responsibility to say. Like that he said. Kumbhakarna also made a counsel. Then he said, I will do what you want me to do. Because this man went on offensive. The moment he said, he refused to hear. He should have applied his mind. He should have thought about it. All that he should have done. He refused. Instead, he went on an offensive. I think one sloka I have brought to just show what is the mood of Ravana. Bhayam na pashyami kutaschit api aham. Bhayam na pashyami kutaschit apyaham na ragavah prapsesi jatu maitil. See the ahankar of Ravana. What is his reply for all this? This is Ravana's reply actually. Na ragavah prapsesi jatu maitilim. Suraihi sahendrairapi sangare katam samagratah stasyati Lakshmanagrajaha. See what is his answer. He says, Bhayam na pashyami. I am not worried. Why are you people already unnecessarily worried? I am not worried. This is called Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhi. This is exactly called Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhi. Buddhi will become Viparita because Vinasha has come. Okay? So he says, I am not afraid. You people are cowardice. You are also afraid. His inability to see the truth is all camouflage and shows foolishly like a bravery. Ravana is so brave, foolishly brave, which we will see much later as the story showed it. So he says, Bhayam na pashyami kutaschit, from nowhere here. There's no fear possible. Nowhere. And then says, Na ragavaha prapsesi jatu maithili. He cannot take Maithili and go. Forget it. Is this what he is thinking about? Forget it. Raghava is not going to get Maithili. That is line 1. Then he says, Sangare, in war, he says, Mama agrataha, in front of me, suppose Rama comes along with Indrai, Suraihi saha Indrairapi. Let him bring Indra, let him bring all the Devas. All the Devas have come as monkeys actually. That's the story. Let them bring the Devas and the Indra along with that. Let him come. Let me see Katam Stasyati. Let me see how he can even stand in front of me. Katam Stasyati. Mamagre, he says, that's what he says. Mama agrataha, Lakshmanagrajaha, Suraihi saha Indriyehi api Sangare. In war, let him bring Indra and all the Devas. Let me see how he stands in front of me. That's the level of arrogance. The arrogance has gone to such a level that the reality is completely blindfolded. And instead of seeing a danger, he is seeing a futility of the argument. You have moved from this end to the other end. Instead of seeing a danger, you are seeing the whole argument as futile. That's what he dismissed every one of them. But Kumbhakarna he did not dismiss. Kumbhakarna was woken up much later. This is at the beginning. 10th Sarga. Kumbhakarna is 63rd Sarga. By that time, 2 batch of major casualties are over. So in Kumbhakarna, he never said that. He said something else. He did not say like this. Because he already melted down. He said something else there. In 16th Sarga, again Vibhishana comes once again. And what does he say? Sulabhaha Purushaha Rajan Satatam. This is the trademark of Valmiki. He is not talking the story, he is bringing a Loka Dharma here. See what he is saying. He is saying Sulabhaha Purushaha Rajan Satatam Priyavadinaha Apriyasya cha Patyasya Vakta Shota. This is like a, this is used as a Subhashita. It's from Valmiki Ramayana. It's a Subhashita. People learn it as Subhashita. Look at what he's saying. Sulabhaha Purushaha Rajan Satatam Priya. People around you will talk very nicely. That kind of people, there are many number available. Easily available. Sulabhaha Purushaha Satatam Priyavadinaha. When things are going, but oh, very good, very good, very good. You flatter him. Oh, everything is fine. And he does the most foolish thing. He says, oh, sir, you are doing a wonderful thing. Great, wonderful. Why? Out of fear. Just to get the favor and then forget, let anything happen to him. So that's what he says. Sulabhaha Purushaha Rajan Satatam Priyavadinaha. Always around you, you will find Satatam means all the time you will be surrounded by people who will say whatever do is great. Actually, you will be doing the foolish thing. Within their heart, they will say this fellow is a big idiot doing foolish thing. But outside, they will not say like that. Oh, wonderful, great, great. Apriyasya cha tu patyasya, the path and that which is difficult to tread through. It may be difficult to tread through. Apriyasya tu patyasya vakta shrota cha durlabha. Please listen to what I say. You consider what I say and then dismiss. That is, he was pleading. People around you, because they are all saying good things, don't think they are good. Apply your mind a little bit carefully. So that's what, also Valmiki is bringing a very nice Lokanyaya there, Lokadharma there. That how do we handle situations? How do we be little alert about people around us who will be flattering us? It's very true for a manager, for a project manager, for a leader. Everybody, it is true. We have to be very, very careful in what we do, because people can be easily managed in flattery, which is what a lot of people are. Then we will be going from one wrong decision to another wrong decision. And when decisions go wrong, all these people will run away. You remain finally. That's what it says. Apriyasya tu patyasya vakta shrota cha durlabha. It's a nice subhashita actually from Valmiki Ramayana. Vibhishana is saying that to his brother Ravana. Nivaryamanasya maya hitaishina na rochate te vachanam nishachara. This is Ravana's final reply to him. I think. Vibhishana finally he says his departing message when he deserted Ravana. Finally, this is a departing message. He says, Nivaryamanasya maya hitaishina na rochate te vachanam nishachara. Paranta kale hi gatayisho narahitam na grinnanti. Again a loka dharma. Second line is a loka dharma actually. He is bringing an important principle of life. See what he is saying. Nivaryamanasya maya hitaishina na rochate. All that I told only to redeem you from the trouble. I felt you are getting into a big mess. I was trying to tell you. Na rochate. You don't like it. You don't seem to. Right? And te vachanam nishachara. You are, all that means refers to the thing. But he says, the words that you are saying, that you are, saying the way you are behaving, all that. Look at the second line. It says, Paranta kale hi gatayushaha. If a person is reaching the end of his life, that's what he's saying. Gata ayushaha. His ayush is over. Gata ayushaha paranta kale naraha hitam na grinnanti. That's what he says. When one fellow is going to be doomed, he is not going to listen to good things in life. That's what is happening here. This is Vibhishana's final observation. Paranta kale hi gata ayushaha naraha hitam na grinnanti. Suhridbihi iritam. I am not saying listen from somebody. Suhridbi, somebody who is close to you, your sibling, well-wisher, all that. Taihi iritam. They have said something. When you are bound to go through a mess in your life, that is when you will actually do a tiraskara. So the second line is a life principle. Valmiki is giving a principle of life which we should reflect on. Forget about the story and all, Ramayana, Vibhishana, Ravana and all, leave it. Look at the second line. Second line says Paranta kale hi gatayushaha naraha hitam na grinmanti. Suhridbihi iritam. Even if a well-wisher says, they will not listen. That means they are on the verge of getting into a trouble for themselves. He is flagging a potential danger that we will go through in our life. This is Valmiki Ramayana. Story and all he will say, but he will wait for one opportunity to jump into a loka dharma, a principle which we should think about. He uses the story only as an excuse. But he brings a very important concept. This second line is very, very important. Paranta kale hi gatayushaha narahitam na grinnanti. Suhridbihi iritam. After saying this, Vibhishana goes. After 16th Sarga, Vibhishana crosses side. He comes to the other side, Rama's side. Up to 19th Sarga, there is this Vibhishana Sharanagati and all that. Let's look at what Kumbhakarna has to say. Kumbhakarna also, Malyavan is also very good. I mean, I just wanted to bring only some now. Maybe later when we see, we will see. Kumbhakarna also says very nice shloka. I just took 2-3 of them just to show you from what perspective Kumbhakarna actually spoke. Look at here. Pratamam vai Maharaja Krityam etat achintitam. First you did something thoughtlessly. Achintitam kritam. Pratamam. Thoughtlessly you did something. Right? Kevalam, why did you do? Kevalam virya darpenanu anubandha. Because of virya, and so you did something without, thoughtlessly you started something without even expecting what is going to happen. On the top of it, you are nothing but an embodiment of virya and darpa and all that. I mean, you had all that ahankar driven things. He says, Anubandha Chintita, Navichintita, now will come there. Navichintita, Kevalam, Anubandha. You didn't know. You started something without knowing, and because of your particular thing, arrogance of power, you got into a trouble. The Kumbhakarna woke up, he actually understood this is going nowhere. Even at that late stage, he actually advised him. In that late stage, he advised him. So he didn't listen to it. Look at the next line. It's again a Loka Dharma. Beautifully he says, Ya paschat purva karyani kuryat aishwaryam astitah purvam cha uttara karyani nasaveda nayanayo. It's a very nice shloka actually. He says, Aishwaryam. First of all, you started with a position of power. Power gives you to do anything. You know, you are a head of a family, you are a leader, you are a manager, you have all the power to do. So, armed with that freedom of choice, you do something which, in the first place, which you should not have done. Kumbhakarna is saying Ravana, after so much have happened. He says, Yaha paschat purva karyani. Kuryat aishwaryam astitah. Paschat, that has to be done, you are doing before. Okay? Purvam cha uttara karyani. In the beginning, he says, now you are doing what you should have done before. Earlier, what did you do? You did something which you should have done later. That's what he says. Purvam cha uttara karyani. A fellow who does like that, he doesn't nasaveda nayanayo. He doesn't know the path. Nayati means leads. I mean, he doesn't know what is the right course. That's the meaning. He has lost his sense. That's what he is saying. You have messed up yourself because of your Aishwarya. You power with the fist of power and all that endowment of everything that you had with you. You just did everything wrong. What you should have done earlier, you are trying to do now. What you are doing now, you should have done earlier and all that. You have messed it up. Such people don't know their course. They don't know what is the right course and the wrong course. Nasaveda nayanayo. Naya and anaya. Nayanayo. Is what he says. Very good advice he made. He wouldn't listen to that. Here only it comes. Here, previous shloka, in the 9th shloka, Kumbhakarna says, this dharma, artha, kama is there. People take all the three in a particular way. If they take 2 of the 3, they also know how to take. That is the previous shloka. That's why he says, Trishu cha eteshu. That eteshu trishu refers to dharma, artha and kama as the purusharthas. Moksha is not brought here. It is all vyavahara, no? It's not a spiritual discussion. So he says, Trishu cha eteshu yat sreshtam shrutva tat na avabuddhyate raja matro va vyartam tasya bahushutam. Again, these are all nice advices. He says, eteshu, trishu, in those 3, yat sreshtam, which is good. Shutva. Shutva means you learn. Shutva means not hearing. You learned all that. Hearing means you learned it. Shutva tat na avabuddhyate. You knew all that, but you did not keep it in your mind. You did not put it to use. What is the point in knowing everything if it is all only known? I am not putting it in practice. That is all vyartha. That's what he says. Vyartham. And he says bahushutam. This is what I have heard in many places. I am seeing it in your. That's what it is. All your learning would be in vain if you learn for the sake of learning, but never think of applying it. So he is talking about applied learning. Don't learn for the sake of learning. That's of no use. You might have learned all that. He was a great Pandita. Adho Mahan Pandita Asam. He was a great Pandit. He knew all Shastras, everything he knew. So Kumbhakarna is saying, it's not important, you know. You should be able to practice it. Right? Rajava, Rajamatraha, Vyartham. All, whether you are a crown prince or the king or the crown prince or whoever it is of no use. Which means he's telling him, you have wasted all your knowledge. That's what he's saying. You have wasted all your learning. You have kept it aside and you are practicing against what you learned. That has brought you to this situation. That's what Kumbhakarna is trying to get through this shloka. Then he refers Vibhishana. What is he saying? Yad uktam iha te purvam kriyatam anujena cha. Why should I tell you? Vibhishana said this before. Yad uktam hite purvam kriyatam anujena cha. Your younger brother said, please do this. Purvam uktam kriyatam iti. Tadeva no naha hitam. That is good for naha is for all. We. It is good for us. Tadeva no hitam vakyam yad ichyasi tat cha tat kuru. See, he's a Raja. At the end of the day, you cannot command him, please do it. Even a brother can't do it. There is a protocol. That's why there is a way to tell. Even to our boss, when we want to say don't do it, there's a way we say. Sir, you look at it, sir, this may not work, but you know how to do what to do better. That's how we say, na. Because it is a certain protocol, na. At the end of the day, the command of power is with somebody. That's why he says, but he very categorically says what Vibhishana said was right. So, yadichasi tatkuru, but you decide what you want to do. So, there is a third opportunity. Malyavan also made a very nice pitch. That also he ignored. Here also he made, I took a few shlokas. You read the entire 21 shlokas, it will be very nice. Beautifully argues actually. Kumbhakarna. What are all the things? Where have you missed? All that comes here. You know what is the reply of Ravana? Just see what Ravana is saying. He says, Manyaha Guru iva acharya kimmam tvam anushasase. So you have come here to teach me. Anushasase. You are giving me anushasana. You are teaching me now. Like what? Like a great teacher. Do you think you are a great teacher? So instead of reflecting on what Kumbhakarna said, see what Ravana is doing now. He says, Manyaha Guru iva acharya kim mam tvam anushasase. So you have come here you are taking a role of teacher. I never asked you to do all that. You have taken a role of a teacher and you think you are a great teacher. You are come here to advise me. That's a question he asked. Kim mam tvam anushasase? Kimevam vakshamam kritva eduktam tad vidiyatam. Why are you wasting your words? Vakshamam. Why are you wasting your energy? What I said you do. Yaduktam tad vidiyatam. Right? Yadi yuktam. Yaduktam, I think. Yaduktam, it is there. Yaduktam. In this context, it is not yaduktam. It's yuktam. I'll have to check that. What is appropriate for this situation, you do that. What is appropriate for this situation, you do that. That's what Ravana is. Because Ravana, at this point, is in such a desperation. There is no quid pro quo for him. He cannot quit this. It has become an ego issue now. Therefore, and nor he is now saying Rama is useless. That sentence is all not coming now. See, earlier, what he said, what is this Rama? He said, Trinabhuta. He is like a blade of grass. I'll just blow him off. All that he said. At the 63rd Sarga, he never said like that. He said, do what is to be done now. Why are you talking all these? You do what has to be done now. He never said, no, those fellows can be finished off. Nothing. None of that he said. He is, because it has traveled that far. 2 major casualties have happened, actually. Then Kumbhakarna finally says, Aham cha hitam vachyam sarvavastam maya tava bandhu bhavat abhihitam bhratra snehat cha parthiva. But I will tell you, my dear brother, I am your brother. I must tell you what is right. Same way as Vibhishana said, Kumbhakarna also said, I will do what you want. Avashyam hitam vachyam sarvavastam maya tava. In all situations, I have to give you the hitam vachyam. What is right, I have to tell. Yadachasi tata kuru, we have already said that. I should tell what I think is the right thing. See, right counsel will come. But a person who is at the verge of destroying himself will ignore that right counsel. That is what I've been saying. That is the message that is coming. Why am I saying all this? Bandhu bhavat. I am related to you. Bhratra srehatcha. Out of that love that I am your brother, it is my, because I should not feel tomorrow I did not say. I must tell you, so that my conscience is clear. Then he said, I will do what you want me to do. I will go into the Agni and then offer me as Ahuti. He says later, I will do, but I should not be found wanting in not telling you. Because Bandhu Bhava, Bhratra Snehacha, Yat Uchitam, Yat Hitam, Sarvavavastam, Maya Tava, Avashyam Vachyam. It has to be told. That is why I am saying this. This was the final answer which Kumbhakarna gave, and then he agreed to go and fight. Then, of course, he also died, and then, of course, Indrajit died, and all that kind of thing happened. And then, after Ravana died, Mandodari comes. In one sarga, Mandodari comes, and then she pours by. He said, "Such a great man, why did you find yourself into such a situation finally?" So it is not, this Yuddha Kandam is not about fight and all that. A lot of Lokadharmas, because we all go through fight in our life. Fight not in a very figurative sense of AK-47 and Brahmastras and all that. Life is a fight in many ways. There are so many pressing challenges. There are so many situations where we are so haughty, we don't listen to people. This is an occasion for us to reflect. So those messages we have to get out of this Yuddha Kandam. So the fight, that's why when we look at Yuddha Kandam, I will look at none of the stories. I pick up only these shlokas and then we'll keep on seeing. They are the most interesting part. Story Ramananda Sagar has given us any number of times. We've seen it in movies also. So we don't need the story. We need this kind of, throughout Ramayana we'll do only this kind of a thing. So from next class onwards, I'm going to get only this mode. I may jump sargas, but I pick only the pearls from that. I will do the churning, get only butter for the class. Story we don't need. Story we all know. Some interesting perspectives for our life. There are plenty. That's why I ventured into doing something like this. Anyway, now we'll see the remaining shlokas, which are part of the Samkshepa Ramayana, which are part of Yuddha Kandam, and then it ends. Phalashruti. Bharadvajashramam gatva Ramasatya Parakramah Bharatasyantikam Ramo Hanumantam Vyasarjayate. In fact, when he left Bharadvaja Ashrama, he promised to come back. Actually, that's why in return journey he makes a point to visit. When he started from Lanka, his stop was Bharadvaja Ashrama. Actually. So Bharadvaja Ashramam Gatva Twanta Prayoga. Full of that only left and all those things. Ramaha Satya Parakramaha Bharadvaja Ashramam Gatva is Rama, who is none other than Satya Parakrama. Rama's strength, valor, moral strength, mental strength, physical strength, everything comes from Satya, from his Satya Vrata. That's why he is Satya Parakrama. So that's the adjective for Rama. Ramaha Satya Parakramaha Bharadvaja Ashramam Gatva. And what did he do? Hanumantam Visarjayat. Yasarjanam is release. So here is not release. Here release means ask him to go. In that sense. So he asked Hanuman to go. Where? Bharatasyantikam. Go near Bharata. Meaning go and meet Bharata. Because he is Nandigrama. But there are some nice shlokas. Rama says, don't go rush and tell him I am coming. Go and see. If Bharata is so much accustomed to the kingdom and he has got power has gotten into his head, silently come back. Let us not go back. Who will say that? Let us not go back. Just go and see. If only you think he is anxiously waiting for my return, this is a very high character. This is the personification of Rama. In that sarga we will see, in Yuddhakanda. He tells Hanumanta, don't go. Check. If Bharata is so used to kingdom, forget it. Let's find our way. If only he is anxious, you should go and actually tell that I am coming. Kind of a subtlety of thought. In that sarga you will find. Anyway. Punaha Akyayikam Jalpan Sugriva Sahitascha Saha Pushpakam Tat Samaruhya Nandigramam Yayau Tada. See, Jalpan is the continuous. Jalpan. Then depending upon what you put, it becomes present continuous or past continuous. The Jalpan, you get Chan, is a continuous tense actually. So here it is present continuous because it's a narration in that sense. So Punaha, Punarekawaram, again, Akyayikam, all the incidences, Akyanas, all that happened on his forward journey, how he lost Sita, what are all the things happened, that whole narration. Punarekawaram, Punar Akyayikam Jalpan, to whom? To Sugriva. Sugriva Sahitascha Saha, because along with him, Hanuman, so people in the Pushpaka Vimanas are, in addition to Sita, Rama, Lakshmana and Hanuman, Sugriva is also there. That's what is being indicated by this. Pushpakam tat samaruhya, samyak aruhya, lebanta aruhya, because of the upasarga sam. Otherwise, aropayitva, aruhya it became, because upasarga is there. That's samyak samaruhya nandigramam yayau. Duyachana, because there is a Rama and Sugriva being referred here. So yayau tada. That time they went to Nandigrama to meet Bharata. Nandigrame jatam hitva bhratribihi sahitaha anagaha. I am doing a padacheda as I am reading. Nandigrame jatam hitva bhratribihi sahitaha anagaha. Ramaha Sitam Anuprapya Rajyam Punaha Avaptavan. They are all in Sandhi. Punaravaptavan. The Visarga become Repa. Punaravaptavan. Punaha Avaptavan. Punaravaptavan. So it says Nandigrame, in the Nandigrama, Jatam Hitva, because the 12 years of Vanavasa is over, they removed all those dresses. Along with the brothers, Bhratribihi Saha, Sahitaha, Saha or Sahitaha, whatever, both are Samana Prayoga. Along with brothers, Anagaha, Aga is Papa, Anaga is sinless, that is adjective for Rama. So Anagaha, Ramaha, Anagaha, Ramaha, okay. Sitam Anuprapya, having obtained Sita back, you can put it in at the front also, whichever way you want to put it. Having, so you can say, having obtained Sita, having returned to Nandigrama, shedding all their forest dwellers' dress and so on, along with their brothers, sinless Rama, came back to Ayodhya. All those are implied. Punaha avaptavan. Avaptam is praptam, obtained. Punaha avaptavan. Why Punaha avaptavan? Because it's rightfully belonged to him. And Bharata actually gave it to him. In Ayodhya Kanda, final. Bharata gave it to him. Bharata said, Pitruvakya Paripalana, all those are fine. As per father's wish and Kaikeyi's Varan, it is mine. Now I have a right to do whatever I want to do. I am giving it to you. It's a nice conversation there. He very smartly said, I am the Raja, now I can decide what to do. I will give it to you. Like that he says in some 95th Sarkar or something in Ayodhya Kandam actually. Anyway, that's a Punaravartama. He got it again, got it back, which rightfully belonged to him. Prahrishta muditaha lokaha tushtaha pushtaha sudharmikaha niramayaha hi arogascha durbhiksha bhaya varjitaha. Durbhiksha bhaya varjitaha is a single pada. It's a samasa pada. You can't tell. Durbhiksham cha bhayam cha durbhiksha bhayo. That is dvandva. And then you put varjita and then it becomes as a, yena, that is durbhikya bhaya varjita. It is Bahuri actually. Anyway, so Prahrishta muditaha. Again, I think this is a samasa pada. Prahrishtaha muditaha cha prahrishta muditaha. Dvandva, I think, gets together. Those who are Krishtaha. Krishta itself is happy. I mean, very this thing. Pra is also prakarshena. The upasarga is adding effect to it. So prahrishtaha. I mean, they're elated, they're so joyful like that. We can say muditaha. That's also adding to it. Lokaha. People. People of Ayodhya, I think we're talking about them. I think the people are all happy, right? Tushtaha, santushtaha, tushtaha, pushtaha, right? They are also pushti, that fullness, content. Pushti is fullness, content. Pushtaha, sudharmikaha. That is the adjective for them. Lokaha, lokaha, sudharmikaha. They are all people who are all, right, following the path of righteousness. Sudharmikaha. Niramayaha. Amaya was not the Niramaya, Niramaya. Fearless. No, they didn't have any sort of fear. Right? He is added as a indeed, also like that. If you want to say, you put this he is a Vibhava. You can just put he to emphasize it, say it, add, connect, and all that. He arogascha. He plus arogascha, herogas. Yakara is come because of Yansandi. He arogascha, they were without any roga. They did have diseases, major diseases. Durbhiksha bhaya varjitaha. Durbhiksha is famine. Subhiksha, Durbhiksha. The opposite of Subhiksha is Durbhiksha. Bhaya varjitaha. So they were devoid. Varjanam is devoid of. So Durbhiksha cha, bhayascha, varjitaha ye something, kesham vishe. So Durbhiksha bhaya varjitaha. So it's a description of those people who were in the Rama Rajya, actually, in some ways. Na putra maranam kinchit drakshanti purushaha kvachit naryascha avidhava nityam bhavishyanti pativrataha. So, na putra maranam kinchit drakshanti purushaha. So, the elders are not seeing the youngsters dying. See, this is, in one way, if you look at, and I was actually thinking about this particular, it's there in the Pattabhisheka Sarga also. These are all extracts in some ways coming from there. So, I was reminded, this Narendra Modi, he made a very nice observation. I don't know where he made the observation, whether he read or it was his own thinking, I do not know. See, when Mandana Mishra and Shankaracharya had this Dubey Bharati as the judge, when they had the Takka, the rule of the game was they had a flower. Both of them were at the beginning of the Takka, they were given a flower, garland. Whosoever's garland becomes Mlanam Bhavati, They are the losers. You know what was the interpretation Modi gave for that? Very nicely he said, he said in some foreign country. He talked to somebody at that time, he said, do you know what do you understand by this? He says, do you know when a flower will, if you wear a flower, if two of us are wearing a flower garland, if the flower garland that I have worn has become Lana, that means I am very tense. Body heat is more. He gave an interpretation like that. He says, if you samadhiyat manas samadhena samadhanena yadi vayam bhavamaha pushpasyam nalanam na bhavati. He says, if you are at peace, if you are at your swasmin karmani swasmin sthane sthiyate iti swastyam, if you are yourself, then you are not affected. You are not stressed up. If you are not stressed up, you don't generate that much body heat. See, intention we generate a lot of body heat, no? He said, that message is also contained in it. Very nicely he said that. Whether it is true or not, there is still a lot of meaning in it. We may not know. Possibly that also is an index of are you losing or not losing. The more desperate you become, this flower will fade much faster. I think we will agree to it. So in the same way, I was thinking, the same way, he says, Purushaha putra maranam na dakshanti, essentially means lot of youngsters marana, if you see, the reasons if you see, there's a lot of other things happening in the society. One of the things which bothers me and worries me sometimes is a lot of death, or some of these software group of people go and say, I'll do a trekking in somewhere, I'll go to some place, and accidentally one fellow, gets into a mess, kind of thing. That kind of thing I'm hearing more and more. That's only a side example. What I'm saying is, it may be a sanketa to say youngsters were not stressed up, not over pressurized. Being youngsters is a time when, of course, there is a lot of energy. There is a lot of energy which has to be brought to some fruitful use, but not at the cost of health, no? Not at the cost of destroying your own health. The modern paradigm is somewhere taking us there. Youngsters are pressurized, they are getting older faster, hypertension, diabetes. India is a diabetes and hypertension capital of the world. Largest number of people in the age group of 20 to 30 in this country. So in a way, this is actually saying that there is a lot of that peace and tranquility even when you are energetic and doing some fruitful things. And this is how I was thinking. Otherwise, I don't know how to explain this. Putranam maranam purushaha kadapina drishtavantaha. In the same way, Naryascha avidava nityam. See, vidhava and avidava. So, ladies did not become widows. That's what he says. Which means, until they lived, they were at the peace and security of that life which they are supposed to have. That kind of a thing is what he is talking. He says, in fact, all Purohits, I don't know how many of you have actually noticed, actually when they do benediction for Hari, they will say, Indrani iva avidava bhuyasam. That's what they will say. Indrani iva avidava bhuyasam. That will be part of mantra. Next time we hear, you will close the ear, you will find somewhere they will say, Indrani iva avidava bhuyasam. Of course, the way they say is they utter it in a nice mantra. They will say, Indrani va vidava bhuyasam. What it means is Indrani va vidava. You either be Indrani or you be a widow. We should not split it like that, because when you commit to a swara, we say Shraddhaya Deyam. It's not Deyam, it's Adeyam. But in swara in Taitropanishad, Shraddhaya Deyam, Ashraddhaya Deyam, Piya Deyam, Fiya Deyam, Samvidha Deyam, right? Ashraddhaya Deyam, that's Ashraddhaya Adeyam actually. So in the same way, they utter the mantra, they will say Indrani va vidava bhuyasam, they will say. Actually, these are all contained in that. That's what he is talking about. Nityam bhavishyanti pativrataha. They were all, pativrataha asan. We don't know the meaning of that today. We have to really find out. So I will not dwell into it in great detail. Nacha adnijam bhayam kinchit na apsu manjanti jantavaha Navatajam bhayam kinchit, napi jwarakritam tata, nachapi kshudbhayam tatra, na taskara bhayam tata. These are all the last 2-3 shlokas are about Rama Rajya. Lakshana of Rama Rajya. People say Rama Rajya, Rama Rajya, no? These are some of the lakshanas of Rama Rajya. So first he says, the Pancha Bhutas were not creating trouble. Today that's a problem. We have Adhivrishti or Anavrishti. The climatic cycles are being disturbed. That's what I mean by that. You may say El Nino, whatever you may say. You have too much of flood or you have no rain. So Madras had one flood. If that flood had come in 10 installments, Madras Subiksha would have gone by 10-fold. But it created so much havoc and went 2 years back. That's what he's saying. Nacha Agnijam Bhayam. Agnijam Bhayam includes earthquake and all your this thing also. Tsunami also. All those are Agnijam Bhayam only. Earthquakes and your volcanoes and so on. Nakinchit Apsu Majjanti. Again, these floods. Basically, what he's saying is, I think people, I mean, the way I understand this, some of the Paris talk was on this. When I went to Paris, I actually, at the end, I little bit talk about that. So I said, we were able to manage our environment so well that we did not infuriate the ecosystem. That's the meaning of this. We took decisions which are all sustainable. We have to use today's, words like sustainable. So it was a sustainable culture. That's what it is actually saying. Kinchitnapi jwarakritam vatajam, cyclones, and basically it's talking about how you are in peace with nature, you are able to not disturb the nature. It's like water, fire, and air. All the three has come. Bhayam, jwarakritam bhayam, kinchitapi na asita. Nacha api shudbhayam, bhayam, the fear of hunger. Okay? Shud is hunger actually. So this is what I spoke. Actually, finally I spoke in Paris. Our notion of sustainability is different. I was wondering what to speak in Paris. Climatic, all kinds of things are happening. Let me talk about sustainability. Looks like in Paris he's very worried about sustainability. That's why I went and talked about sustainability. But I painted a different picture of sustainability. Where I said climate is only one level. We have several levels of sustainability. Climate is only one. Shudbhayam is a sustainable system. Haves and have-nots should not go far away. It's called social sustainability. We talked about it there also and so on. Anyway, Taskara Bhayam. Haves and have-nots will bring if you widen the gap between haves and have-nots, then Shudbhayam and Taskara Bhayam will happen. Definitely will happen. Nagarani cha rashtrani dhanadhanya yutani cha nityam pramudita sarve yata krita yuge tata. Although it was Satya Yuga, Krita Yuga, this is Treta Yuga, but he talks about Satya Yuga and Krita Yuga, the early one. Because, there are in Puranas, what is the difference between the 4 Yugas? How, one quarter of Dharma went, 1 quarter of Dharma went. I mean, figuratively they explain. Essentially, the message is, as you go from Satya or Krita Yuga to Treta Yuga, the shloka is also in another place. Kumbhakarna or somebody, I think, talks about it. It's there. Talks about it. So, what will happen in Kali Yuga? Dharma will be replaced by evil, all that. So, he's saying, you are as though how the quality of Dharma was at that time. So that's what he is actually bringing here. Then, what are all things Rama did? These are all in Patapsheka Sarga also. It says, Ashwamedha Sataihi Ishtva Tata Bahusu Varnakaihi Gavam Koti Ayuta Koti Ayutam Dattva Brahmalokam Prayasyati Asankheyam Dhanam Dattva Brahmanepyo Mahayasha. So he did Ashwamedha Yaga, right? 100 of them. Shataihi Ishti. He did the Ishti. Ashwamedha Ishti. Bahu Suvarnakaihi Gavam Koti Ayutam. Ayutam is 10,000. Koti is 10 power 7. Ayutam is 10,000, I think. Laksha Koti Ayuta. Ayuta is Laksha. Yeah. Actually, 10,000 I think is Sahasra. Sahasra is called Ayutam, I think. 10,000. So Koti, 10,000. I think the Koti is for Gava, the 10,000 is for Suvarnaka, I think. There are two numbers, you should take it. They have generally put it like this. Many Suvarnakas, I don't think it is like that. I think the Ayutam may be for the Suvarnaka and Koti may be for the Gava. They have translated like this. I don't think that's the way it is. So anyway, Brahmalokam Prayasati, his avatara Mahima is over, he goes back. It's in future tense it is saying, Prayasasi. Because when Valmiki was there, Rama was living. That's why the Lava and Puja came and recited now. And he visited Valmiki's ashrama also. So Narada is only, this is Narada's commentary. So Narada is saying, he will go. He will do all this and go. This is in future. It says Prayasyati. Prayati na uttam. Prayasyati. It's in future tense. Because Narada's commentary on Valmiki, he asked, who is that Purusha? The 16 Lakshana. That's where the story is going. Narada Vacha is Sarvam. Here also there is future tense. Yokshyati. It says Rajavamshan Shatagunan Stapayishyati. Again future. Because these are all Valmiki is not going to see, because Valmiki is going to see later. At this point in time he is not going to see yet. Raghavaha Chaturvarnyam cha loke asmin swese dharme niyokshati. This is very, very important. This Chaturvarnyam cha loke asmin swese dharme niyokshati is the greatest mischief the British have done on our society and gone. We have been made today to, more or less we think Shudra is bad and Brahmana is something great, and this mental model was actually imposed on us. We had dignity of labor. In fact, I would challenge any days, the greatest rishis are all non-Brahmins. They are all, none of them are Brahmins. Brahmins you can take, rishis are all not Brahmins. This is a huge mental model in the 250 years. We have been deeply entrenched. So today, if you utter word Shudra, you have to look around. Nothing like that. It's about dignity of labor. It's a beautiful organization of society, and not everybody can do everything. There is a nice way it was done. There was enormous mutual respect that was there as much as it exists in organization. There is a peon, there is a gatekeeper, there is so many people. That doesn't mean, there is still a methodology with the organization's roles and response. It was like that. It has been completely messed up today, and we actually don't know any other model. Indians don't know how to understand the Chaturvarnya. But if you read all our texts, it talks a lot about Chaturvarnyam in a particular way. So it says, Chaturvarnyam cha loke asmin swese dharme niyokshati. They were all having the dignity of labor. A person who was a craftsman, who was a carpenter, had a phenomenal credibility of being a carpenter. A goldsmith was like that, a barber was like that, a cobbler was like that, so was a Brahmin, so was a Kshatriya, so was a Vaishya who was doing some business. We have taken all that out with about 200 years of looking at it in a different way. If you want to know more about it, read Rajiv Malhotra's Dividing India book. And pedigree also. Dashavarsha Sahasrani, Dashavarsha Shatani cha, which is 11,000 years exactly. Dashavarsha Sahasram is 10, and Dasha Shatam is Ekasahasram. So 11,000 years he ruled. In Pattabhisheka Sarga also same shloka comes. Same shloka comes from Pattabhisheka Sarga only. Dashavarsha Sahasrani, Dashavarsha Shatani cha, Rama Rajya upasitva Brahmalokam prayasyati. There it is not in future tense. In Pattabhisheka Sarga it is not in future tense. But here Narada is saying, so he will go. After ruling for 11,000 years, he will go. These are all about Rama Rajya. So 4-5 shlokas and Rama Rajya. And last 3 shlokas is Phalashruti of Ramayana. That also is, see, we had you read many of our texts, this notion that you write a 1-page summary and all, we knew it. We are always doing it. These are actually executive summary of Ramayana actually. It's an executive summary of Ramayana. Many texts you will find. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 is a summary of 18 chapters. Do you know that? You have to, if you read 18 chapters, you know that 2 is actually executive summary. You can take shlokas and relate it to future chapters if you have read the 18 chapters. You know which part of shloka, which chapter. 18 is also again a summary, actually. 41st shloka to 67th shloka is a summary of 18 chapters, actually. He had that culture. So, the executive summary with the Phalashruti also. Idam pavitram papagnam punyam vedaishta sammitam yaha patet ramacharitam sarva papaihi pramuchyate. Those who read this great story of Rama will be relieved of all that papa. Now, I want to tell this always. This Phalashruti is not like your homeopathy medicine or your Ayurveda medicine. Morning, evening. Because some Phalashrutis also say morning once, evening once, all that will come. It doesn't mean if you start reading morning once, evening once, all sarva papai pramuchyate na bhavati. I'll explain what this means is, if you read it with understanding what it is, you will transform. You as an individual will transform. Because you read it with deep understanding, so you became like that. Not mechanically reading morning once, evening once. Like Ayurveda medicine, it doesn't work. So it says, Patet Ramacharitam Kevalam Patanartham na. Yad asmabhihi paditam tasya asmakam dainandanikana acharane etat sarvam asmabhihi yojitavyam. We have to internalize that concept, na? And live by it. Then this will be true. Sarva papaihi pramuchyate. Nischayam bhavati. Sarva papaihi pramuchyate. Etyat akhyananam ayushyam patan Ramayanam naraha saputra pautra saganaha pretya swarge mahiyate. A person who reads in his entire lifetime Ramayana, there are people who are still reading in this country. They are reading throughout their life Ramayana. They may not read 24,000 slokas every day, but the 24,000 slokas goes on a certain cycle. If somebody does it, you will be thinking about Rama, of that person of 16 characters which we started it in Samkshepa Ramayanam. That's the message here. You will live like that. It will inspire you. What you see and what you reflect on inspire you. If you see mega serials, it will inspire you. To be like mega serials where this mother-in-law must get a second unknown wife and a third something, and all mega serials are all shaded like Mahabharata, but in a different way. You have to start with the stepmother and a stepdaughter and all that. You have to start the two branches first. Then only mega serial, and we have learned it from Mahabharata actually. So not that. If somebody reads this, I'm sure they will be inspired because their thoughts will be always on this. That is what all these Phalashrutis are all meaning. It's not some magic stuff. Patan Dvijaha Vakrishabhatvam iyat Syat Kshatriyaha Bhumipatitvam iyat Vanij Janaha Punya Palatvam iyat Janascha Shudropi Mahatvam iyat. This actually says, in a way, it says, what is a Brahmin? Brahmin is all the time in creating good knowledge, disseminating. That's the only job for Brahmin. Create good knowledge, imbibe that knowledge, and then disseminate the knowledge. That means the Brahmin must have a good communicative capability and good ability to transmit. That's why he says, Dvija, if he reads, he will get Vakrishabhatvam iyat. He will have the proficiency. Vak means not talking. What it means is your ability to communicate. That is his job. The Brahmin's job is all the time to get this good knowledge and pass it on to the benefit of the rest of the society. Nothing more than that. Only those who do are only Brahmins. Others cannot be Brahmins. As per that was the notion of the Chaturvarna at that time. Right? And people were transforming. No, Vishwamitra from a Raja, he became a Rishi. Right? And this poor Ravana from a Brahmin, he became a Nicha. He traveled this side. People can travel on any ways. It all depends on what this thing is. And what does a leader want? Leader wants more and more power here, more and more endowment of control. That's a Kshatriya quality. A person who wants to put Aishwarya Bhava, in chapter 80 he says, Aishwarya Bhava is required for a Kshatriya. You should think I have to lordship. So we say do it with dharma and all that. That's other thing. But that is the. So he says they will get what they are looking at. And Vanijjana, what you want? I put effort. I should get profit here. That is a trader. And with that profit, he may do good thing. But a trader must say that I put effort. For the effort, I get more than the effort. That's why he says, Punya palam palattu iyat. Phala must come back. I should work for the fruits of my effort. It should come back. And Shudropi mahattu iyat. So he may do whatever job, but he should become very respected in this society. That's what many of the Shudras have become Nayanmars and Rishis and this and that. Full of this country is full of them. You may not be able to count. It is countless, I am telling you. That is Chaturvarnya of our understanding of Chaturvarnya. So the Chaturvarnyasya Phalashruti api atra asti. So with this Samkshepa Ramayana ends. So Ityashe Srimad Ramayane Valmiki Adikavye Balakande Srimad Ramayana Katha Samkshepo Nama Pratamaha Sargaha. So from the second sarga onwards, we will not go like this. I will jump, I don't know how many sargas. I will only look for interesting shlokas. So we may be on a fast forward now, from now on. And we will look at well into Ramayana purely from Loka Dharma, something which is useful, something which makes us very enlightened, makes us more wise in life. I will pick only those shlokas and then, we will continue like that. From now on, the Paddhati will change a little bit. With this, we will close today's class. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyo shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi sasyashalini deshoyam kshobarahito brahmana santu nirbhaya aputra putrina santu pautrinaha adhana sadhana santu jivantu sharadam shatam shrinvan ramayanam bhaktya yappadam padame bhava sayati brahmanastanam brahmana pujyate sada hari om. Okay, so I just take a couple of minutes just to tell you what happened in Paris, because some of you may be interested in knowing. For the last 2 years, this is the third International Yoga Day, after Modi pushed it and so on. But from last year, the government of India decided, first of all, they are celebrating Yoga Day in all places, foreign embassies and so on. But for some reason, they chose Paris and decided to organize a one-day sort of a program on International Yoga Day. So last year also it happened. Last year also they actually called me. I said I was not interested. Again this year they called. I thought I should not do a Tiraskara like that. This year they chose to call only Sanskrit Vice Chancellors. 3-4 of us are called. Sanskrit University Vice Chancellors and so on. So 4 of us we went. And on the Yoga Day, we don't talk yoga, but we use it as an opportunity to bring something from the Sanskriti and share it. So this year, so we were given the freedom to pick our topic. So I am not strictly a very Sanskrit kind of a person. So I took a topic which is different from all others. They were all talking about Subhashitas and this and that, Sanskrit literature and so on. I thought about it. I said, finally, let me talk about sustainability. Paris, all these global summit, climate summit and all that are happening. I said, let me talk about sustainability. And they said, sorry, you have only 20 minutes. So it became a TED talk for me. You cannot talk for too long. 20 minutes, I have to give them some idea. Because then there was a bit discussion. So it was a 3/4 of a day program. 5 of us were there. So I took shloka 9 to 20 in chapter 3. Yajñātam karman lokan anyatra karma bandhana. Yajñātam karma lokan anyatra tadartham karma kaunteya. Arabhya. Then, samparsham kattimarhasi, loka sangrahame janakadaya, there's one shloka. I took these 12 shlokas and then I went and first I spoke about what mess we are in sustainability. We have all kinds of climatic problems, this and that and so on. Then I said, I will now tell how we have addressed sustainability. Ancestors. I said the ancestors addressed sustainability only with 2 ways. I said they first put a conceptual framework that is called dharma. I said dharana, dharma. Very word dharma means sustain. So we made a conceptual framework called dharma. So I spoke a little bit about dharma as an overarching thing with which everything that you do must be looked at. Because that only will sustain, others will all go. Then I said, how do you get an operating framework? That is a conceptual framework. How do you get an operating framework? I said, yajna is an operating framework to make sustainable. Then I took these shlokas. I said, Purovacha Prajapati, Nena Prasavishyam, Ishtakama Dukha. I said, you can milk your cow of desire, but you have to honor the principle of yajna. Devan Bhaveta, all the shlokas. I said, look at, there are two parts in this shloka. One is that Parasparam Bhava says that you have to honor your Panchabhutas or Devas actually. So if you don't infuriate them, you will be sustainable. That's why the Paraspara Bhava comes. Then Ishtan Bhogan Hi Rasyanti Yajna Bhavita, that is one shloka. I said, if you look at these two slokas, it says you should not eat without giving it to someone. Literally, you cannot consume your riches on your own. You have to give it to someone. Those two slokas. I said, this is called social system. I said, we have Panchamaha Yajna. This is our daily living. We said, Bhuta Yajna, Manushya Yajna, Brahma Yajna, Nara Yajna, Pitri Yajna, and Brahma Yajna, Deva Yajna. I explained a little bit also. I said, this is our way of life. So then I said, there is something called, so you are all talking about climate sustainability, whereas we talk about sustainability, which must include social sustainability and the nature also. So I actually showed the current paradigm of sustainability and an alternative paradigm where instead of A intersection, B intersection, C, I showed three concentric circles in which sustainability works according to us. Then I ended with one thought. I said our ancestors had a wonderful metric for sustainability. There was only one metric they had. They did not have too many metrics. Only metric they had was called rain. If you are very sustainable, rain will happen properly. Today, interestingly, I told them, you need 20,000 differential equations and a Cray computer to predict the rain because it merely shows so many things are involved in rain. Rain doesn't come just like that. So I said, I quoted from Rig Veda, I quoted how we have always prayed for rain. And we said, that's the only indicator for sustenance. So like that, I ended there. I've given you a gist of what happened. Okay, so with that, we will close for the day. And next class maybe after 2-3 weeks. I may not come in between. Or I come on a day which is not a Sunday, maybe for a day or so. I'll let you know the next. Really?
Sir, is the talk available online?
It's not available. They did. I don't know what they did here. They did there. I don't know what they did. Sure.